Sean Pickett with Sales Integrity here. Thank you for listening to the Sales Integrity Podcast. I created a free course for you titled 7 Steps to Master the Game of Complex Technical Selling. To claim your free course, just visit mastercomplexselling.com. Again, that's mastercomplexselling.com, or simply text the word SI course to the number 44222. Again, that's SI as in Sales Integrity. So SI course, all one word with no space in between SI and course. Otherwise, you'll get an error message back. So simply text the word SI course to the number 44222. Now let's jump into the podcast. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." I absolutely love that quote. And it's very relevant for today's topic, which is going to be all about the power of positive affirmation. Now, a couple weeks ago, on a Monday, I believe it was, on podcast episode number 21, the topic was all about establishing a powerful morning routine and just getting yourself in the right frame of mind to begin each day. And then it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy where that day goes well for you. So if you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to podcast episode number 21, Establish a Powerful Morning Routine. Part of that routine that I did not mention during that episode, I went kind of around the horn of what I do in my morning routine, what I call my personal development power hour. But one of the things I do that I didn't mention then was I have this deck of success cards from Deepak Chopra. And it's a 50-card deck. And the way Deepak describes it, it says on the back of the box here, creating money has to do with developing a wealth consciousness, the ability to know that whatever you need is available to you. True success, on the other hand, extends from a deep understanding of self, recognizing your own unique talents and determining how to best use them to support the web of life. These cards inspire you to further tap into the metaphysical wonder of creating success and money. So these cards are really quite cool, actually. It's just like a deck of cards, a little bit bigger than a playing cards, if you will. And on one side, it has a quick statement, and on the back side, it kind of describes it a little bit. And today, what I want to focus on, I just want to narrow the focus as it relates to positive affirmations down to 3 concepts. Those concepts are focus, desire, and intent. So focus, desire, and intent. For anyone who meditates, for anyone who is really introspective, works on personal development, has their own morning routine, who's into those types of studies and just kind of personally developing and growing, they know the power of positive affirmations and what they could do for themselves. But they also know that focus, desire, and intent, that's what mindfulness is really all about. So what I did is, I thought would be fun, is I took just 7 of those 50 cards, and the ones that are really focused around the concepts of focus, desire, and intent. I want to map that to the sales profession. For those that are out there selling on a daily basis, that's your profession. I thought it would be good just to really hone in on this mindfulness topic through those 3 concepts. So the first card says, I focus my intent. That's on the front of the card. And then the back of the card elaborates where it says, when I focus my intent, I am mindful about what I want to bring into my life. So that's the first concept. It's all about focusing your intent. If, when you look at the sales role, if you don't have a sales plan that you've created and written down, shared with someone else to hold you accountable, and had just got their advice as to whether that's going to work or not, then you're not really focusing your intent. So if you don't have a plan, you're just going to wing it and fly by the seat of your pants on a daily and weekly basis. If you're feeling overwhelmed, chances are that's why. You're not focusing your intent. And how you do that in a sales role is you sit down, you take the time to create a plan. We like to create quarterly sales plans at Sales Integrity. That's what we coach our clients to do. It doesn't have to be this big, long, drawn-out process and a huge document that's 10, 20 pages, and it's a big, laborious effort that everyone just doesn't like, and then you end up shelving that big document and going back to winging it anyhow. Ours is a very simple 3-page quarterly sales plan. You could even have a 1-page a sales plan, but as long as it gives you the time to sit down and really be mindful about where you're going to focus your intent on how you're going to achieve your sales and income goals. That's really what I take away from that particular message on that card. The second card says, my intent is clear. And on the back, it says, when my intent is clear, my desires can be fulfilled. So again, this is very similar to that first card, but you really want to be clear. You don't want to be too complex is the message I take away from this. As sales professionals, we can get really caught up into the details and analysis paralysis, as some people like to say, and really overthink it. And a good example of this is doing too much research before picking up the phone and making a call, or really trying to get that email absolutely perfect and getting very detailed with one email and spending too much time on that instead of just sending it and taking action, or really kind of doing some research and hemming and hawing as to whether you should go to that networking event, whether it's going to be good use of your time or not. So these are some examples in a sales role that, if your intent isn't clear, which is I want to take action, I want to reach out to a specific number of people on a daily, weekly basis and really have a high activity level. If your intent isn't clear, then you're probably not going to fulfill your desires. And obviously in sales, your desires to achieve your sales and income goals. So that was the second card. Third card, my desires can create my reality. I always like to change this one to my desires do create my reality. Desires, and just the concept of desiring something is very, very powerful. If you've ever, think of your own life, just think of anything that you really wanted badly throughout your life, whether it was to buy that new car or buy a house or move or go on that really cool vacation with all your friends or family. Just think about a time where something seemed like it was not reachable, but you really wanted to do it really, really badly. So that's a desire. That was desire at work, a strong, desire, never-ending desire to achieve something that you really wanted that just seemed that it just wasn't reachable. So my desires do create my reality. On the back of the card, it says, it is through desire that the unmanifest can be made manifest. And that's exactly what I was describing. Something that doesn't exist today, something you want to achieve in the future, if you really focus your intent and your intention is clear, as we had talked about, but you have a strong desire to achieve something, then you really can create something out of nothing, right? You can really go achieve something in the future that might seem unachievable at present time. So just keep that in mind when it comes to sales. Same thing. If you think, I don't think I want to reach out to those senior level executives or CEOs or CIOs of those companies. They're just, they're at a higher level. I'm a little intimidated by them, or I don't know how I'm going to get in front of them. It's going to be difficult. I got to get around a gatekeeper, whatever, internal chatter you may have going on in your head. Just really start visualizing and thinking about, painting a picture of the future with you and that executive in it, or those types of executives, you taking them to a steak dinner and saying, man, I remember when I feared even picking up the phone and reaching out to you, or sending you that email, or going to the event that you were speaking at, and approaching you to just shake your hand and get introduced and establish a connection point. So there's all sorts of things that we fear as sales professionals. Whatever that is, the way to get over that is to have a strong desire to overcome it and just kind of look past that fear to the future and have a strong desire to be successful with those individuals in that same picture. So paint a picture for the future. That's your desire. That picture is the ideal picture of you, your future customers in it, and then go make that happen. So that's that card. The next card, my intent and focus is clear. All of these are very similar, as you can tell. They're just kind of changed up a little bit. But my intent and focus is clear. And on the back, it says, in order to create success and money in my life, my intent and focus must be clear. I can then let the universe take care of the details, right? So now this is talking about a little bit closer to home for salespeople, right? Creating success and money in my life. But your intent and focus must be clear. Those things aren't just going to appear out of thin air. There's not a money tree outside the window. You could just kind of grab some money and off you go. As salespeople, you got to go create that, right? As a sales professional. And again, that goes back to having a plan, executing that plan, staying consistent with executing that plan, but being mindful of what you're trying to achieve on a daily basis. So I'll go back to that podcast episode number 21. All of this can start with establishing a powerful morning routine. If you remind yourself of this every day, as you can imagine, if you're reading these cards every day like I do, you're going to stay very, very focused and mindful of what you're trying to achieve in your sales role. Next card. I intend to create good luck in my life. And then on the back, it says, when I recognize the power of intent, I can focus it to create the life that I want. So this is something that I just absolutely love, because the power of intent is very, very powerful. And now this one starts to talk a little bit about good luck, right? So in sales, I've always seen this when I was coming up through the ranks, and just every company we go into, whoever the number one, number two rep are, the most successful reps, others are saying, they're really lucky. They had a big deal drop in their lap. Right. Or they, somebody, handed them that, or they've gotten some of the good leads, or something just kind of came in and dropped, right in their lap, just made it easy for them. What they don't realize is all the hard work and the smart work and the planning and focusing of their intent and their desire to succeed, all of that stuff that goes on outside of earshot, outside of eyesight, that they're doing behind the scenes to put themselves in a position to be lucky, right? Opportunities dropping in your lap, that only happens after you've put in a consistent, amount of time into nurturing relationships, so someone will just bring that to you, right? Doesn't, people don't just hand opportunities over to people that they just met, or they don't just trust someone with something like what we're selling in the complex technical sales industry. If you're selling something that's complex, technical, it's consultative solution selling, B2B sale, those are longer sales cycles. Those are big ticket, big value items, that you're going to market with. That just doesn't happen overnight, right? So that you got to cultivate that. You got to nurture relationships to be able to do that. So, in order to do that, you have to have an intention to do that. So you got to be purposeful, purpose-driven in the way you're prospecting and looking at your prospecting strategy. So it takes a good mix of strategies, from outbound calling, outbound emailing, using LinkedIn and InMail and social selling, maybe even Twitter if your customers are in Twitter and you can connect with them there, right? So it's a nice mix of all that combined with strategic networking, right? And just cultivating those relationships. So I intend to create good luck in my life. The way you do that is by careful preparation, on a daily basis, and then execution of your plan as well. Next card, my intentions inspire me. When my intentions are whole, I am inspired and enthused. I am successful. So it's not good enough just to kind of create a quick plan and go off and start executing. You want to have a plan that's tied to your personal goals. You also want to make sure that you visualize this. We had Jim Fortin on. He really specializes in neuro persuasion. He was a guest a couple weeks ago, talked about neuro persuasion. And really his whole emphasis on the psychology of human interaction, influence, persuasion techniques that you can leverage ethically as a sales professional. One of the things he talks about is, he's not huge on goal setting, just kind of writing goals down and having them in a plan. He likes to couple that process with visualization. So, go find images of things that you want to achieve or acquire, and then print those out and make them visible, like vision boards, right? So have a vision board in conjunction with your plan. So that way you can connect the dots of, okay, if I create this plan and execute it and achieve my goals, that is the end result. That's what I'm getting. And that kind of goes back to my example of paint a picture of the future with you and your future clients in it. Right? That's all about visualization. It works in sports. It works in business as well. So my intentions inspire me. And when my intentions are whole, I am inspired and enthused. I am successful because of those intentions. And then last card here, and we'll wrap it up. I detach from the outcome. And on the back of that card, it says, after I focused my intention, I detach from the outcome and let Lady Luck do her job. So again, I detach from the outcome. After I focus my intention, I detach from the outcome and let Lady Luck do her job. At some point, after all of this focus, desires and intention, and being mindful of all this, and putting your plan together and then executing that plan and being very systematic and purpose-driven in your approach, you got to believe in that system. That alone will raise your level of confidence. It'll give you more energy. You'll get more things done in the same amount of time that you would normally maybe drag your feet on, take a little bit longer to do, because you're very focused. You have a strong desire to achieve. You intend to achieve because you're being very detailed, specific about it in a plan, so you know exactly how you're going to achieve your goals. And if you just follow your plan and execute it, then at some point you got to let Lady Luck do her job, right? I mean, I do believe that you can create your own destiny, but there is going to be a little bit of luck involved, and it goes back to what we just talked about a little bit ago, which is luck just doesn't kind of drop in someone's lap. Luck is that old saying of where preparation, opportunity, and timing all intersect. That's what luck is. Preparation, timing, and opportunity, they all intersect. It might not be the right time. You may have an opportunity come to you, but you're not ready for it. You didn't prepare. It's not the right time. So all three of those things need to happen. So at some point, if you're mindful, you understand the power of intention and focus and desire, and you put that to work for you, you're going to be very, very successful as a sales professional. So hopefully you found today's episode to be interesting and something that you'll think a little bit more about. It's not the classic, here's some sales techniques you can go out and do. I do believe we need to slow down every once in a while, really sharpen the saw and think about ourselves and how are we going to improve ourselves and our outlook and just be mindful of success and what it takes to achieve success. So that was the purpose of today's episode. I hope you found it to be useful. So now let's take some time and wrap up this episode with some brief announcements. Thanks. First, we recently launched 2 new B2B tech sales professional groups, one on LinkedIn and one on Facebook. Just search for B2B tech sales professionals on either LinkedIn or Facebook, or both if you want to join both groups, and join the conversation with your peers there. Second, if you haven't already subscribed to our free 7-day video email course titled 7 Steps to Master the Game of Complex Technical Selling, then you can do so by visiting mastercomplexselling.com. Again, that's mastercomplexselling.com, or you can text the word SI course, so as in sales integrity, SI course, all one word with no spacing in between. If you send it with a space between SI and course, you'll receive an error message back. So text the word SI course to the number 44222. After subscribing, we will send you your first lesson via email right away on day 1 and then one for the next 6 days. Third, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or SoundCloud. Just search for the Sales Integrity Podcast with Sean Pickett, and it should pop up and allow you to subscribe on one of those 2 channels. After you subscribe, please provide a quick 5-star rating and simple 1 to 2 sentence review to help others find the show. To provide a review on iTunes isn't as simple as you think. You can't do so directly within the podcast. What you have to do is actually click on the search icon, then type in Sales Integrity, and you will see my podcast there. Now, I'm referring to the purple podcast icon. When you click on that on your iPhone, brings up the main podcast center. Down below, you'll see the search icon. So click on that, type in Sales Integrity, and you'll see the podcast there. Click on the podcast. In it, you'll see the reviews tab in the middle there. Just click on that. And once there, you could provide a 5-star rating and simple 1 or 2 sentence review. Now, since iTunes prioritizes shows with the most ratings and reviews higher than those that have just a few of them, this will dramatically help the show be found by more people. So I greatly appreciate it. And finally, please share the podcast with your colleagues and friends who would find it relevant. You can do so by going to salesintegrity.com and click on the Sales Integrity Podcast menu link at the top of the page. All of the podcasts are there, and it provides you a way to click a button and share any episode, whether via email directly to individuals, or there's buttons there to share it on the various social media sites, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc. So I would greatly appreciate it if you spread the word about the show on social media to help grow it. And finally, that'll do it for today's episode. Now go out there in the sales world today and help your prospects and customers buy what they want, what they need, and what benefits them. And most importantly, go out there and make it a great day.